Do you often feel a sadness that you just can't shake? Low energy or difficulty functioning in daily activities? The World Health Organization reports that across the world in 2019, pre-COVID, 970 million people were living with a mental disorder. Anxiety and depressive disorders are the most common. These disorders could be mild, moderate, or severe, occurring together or even worsening each other. For too many people, mental health is ignored or just difficult to talk about. In this video, let's make depression and anxiety a little more accessible and talk about 6 steps to helping you feel more like yourself through nutrition. Mental health is incredibly complex, and each of us experiences it differently with different degrees of difficulty, distress, and maybe different outcomes. Let's look at some general descriptions of depression and anxiety. The National Institute of Health describes a major depressive episode as at least 2 weeks when a person experienced a depressed mood or loss of interest or pleasure in daily activities and had a majority of specified symptoms such as problems with sleep, eating, energy, concentration, or self-worth. The World Health Organization characterizes anxiety disorders by excessive fear and worry and related behavioral disturbances. Like depression, anxiety may result in significant distress or significant impairment in functioning. Some examples are generalized anxiety disorder, characterized by excessive worry, and social anxiety disorder, characterized by excessive fear and worry in social situations. Now let's take 6 steps to rethink depression and anxiety, starting with what we're eating. Step 1, examine what you're eating. Take a look at what you're putting in your mouth. We tend to focus on the calories, carbohydrates, protein, and fat. More calories, more energy. Fewer calories to lose weight. This hyper-focus on calories totally disregards the amount and variety of nutrition or lack of in our food and how much our brain needs to flourish, much less maintain a normal state. So, how much nourishment did your brain get yesterday? How can we eat to strengthen our brains? Step 2, avoid junk. Every time we take a bite, we are making a choice to nourish our bodies and brains or put in junk that has calories but very little nutrition. It's like bad gas in a car, causing the engine to sputter or stall. By junk, I'm talking about fried foods and ultra-processed foods. Researchers looked at people who ate the most fried food, like deep-fried French fries, and found that there was a 12% increased risk of anxiety and a 7% increased risk of depression. If you're interested in the science on high heat and acrylamide, take a look at this video. And what does ultra-processed even mean? These are foods that are high in sugar, fat, and salt, like sugary soft drinks, chips made with oil and artificial flavors and colors, cookies made with partially hydrogenated oil and high fructose corn syrup, an energy bar packed with sugar and refined oils, or ice cream made with corn syrup, palm oil, and mono and diglycerides, plenty of fat and refined carbohydrates, but very few nutrients. It's alarming to see that ultra-processed foods account for about half or more total calories in the US, UK, and Canada. Many research studies point to the relationship between eating more ultra-processed foods and an increase in psychiatric symptoms like depression and anxiety. Our brain is only about 2% of our body weight, but it consumes 20 to 40% of the nutrients and calories that we consume. It's almost too obvious to say, almost. A malnourished brain is not going to work properly. Step 3, stay away from meat, fish, and poultry. Fried foods and ultra-processed foods are one thing. Did you realize that meat can impact mood? This study published in Nutrition Journal found that diets high in meat, fish, and poultry promote changes in the brain that can disturb mood and negatively impact mental state. It's not easy to avoid chicken, eggs, beef, pork, and fish, and it may take some time, but it's worth it to eliminate these contributors to depression and anxiety while reducing the need for animal suffering, rainforest deforestation, and species extinction. That might be the ultimate win-win. It does beg the question, what should we be eating for our mental health? Step 4, eat more plants. If you've watched the 10 Principles for a Whole Foods Plant-Based Lifestyle, You've heard this before. Ideally, we would get all of our nutrients from food. In several cross-sectional studies, consumption of vegetables and/or fruits has been shown to be associated with lower risks of depression. This study found the same with older adults. Eating vegetables more often is protective against depressive symptoms. Many studies show that a Mediterranean-style diet protects people from developing a mental disorder. It is rich in fruits and vegetables, high in healthy fats, nuts, and fish, and low in ultra-processed foods. This is a great start, especially if it's difficult to follow a plant-based or low SOS vegan diet. My husband and I tried a similar pescatarian diet for our physical health. We didn't see any improvements in our cholesterol level, blood pressure, and weight loss, like we have for a mostly whole foods, totally plant-based diet. Especially when you add in animal suffering, overfishing, the ocean's poor health, as well as the planet's. For more information on the Mediterranean versus whole food plant-based diets, take a look at this video. Step 5. Get moving. In one of our favorite 74-10 style books, Dr. Greger writes, "We've known for decades that even a single workout can elevate mood and that physical activity is associated with decreased symptoms of depression." In fact, one study showed that people who regularly exercised had 25% lower odds of a major depression diagnosis. Another study at Duke University found depressed men and women who exercised but did not take an antidepressant drug returned to normal functioning, which was comparable to just taking the antidepressant drug Zoloft. Have you ever looked at its long list of common side effects? Scary. So no drugs unless absolutely necessary. But what about supplements? Step 6. Take a supplement if necessary. It may be that you've already transitioned to a plant-based diet and exercise regularly, but are still suffering from depression or anxiety. Get this. 1. Our bodies have genetic differences, our microbiomes are different, as are our metabolisms. Your body may not be able to pull as many nutrients out of the food as someone else's. 2. Doctors Kaplan and Ruckledge write, climate change, increasing levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and poor soil quality lower the nutrient density of what we eat, which means that the apple you eat today doesn't have the same nutrients as one eaten a generation or two ago. 3. Most of us live in a very stressful environment: natural disaster, politics, personal finances, work, family care. Stress depletes us of nutrients when we go into a fight or flight response because our body needs to make adrenaline at the expense of other body functions. In just these 3 areas, you can see where some people might need more nutrients than others, maybe even more than they can get out of food. For some that need help with mental resilience, a daily vitamin B complex may be enough. In this article, Dr. Kaplan writes about 8 randomized controlled trials showing that people feel less stressed and more resilient when given a daily B complex. She reports that post-earthquake studies on vitamin B complex showed a reduction in probable PTSD from 62% to 19% in 4 weeks. On the other hand, for people dealing with mental disorders like depression and anxiety, more nutrients may be necessary. I was really surprised to learn that over-the-counter, broad-spectrum micronutrient supplements have been studied extensively for their ability to alleviate depression, anxiety, explosive rage, irritability, and attentional problems. A broad-spectrum micronutrient supplement provides all the major vitamins and minerals together in balance at appropriate doses in one supplement. They're not a standard multivitamin because they include more vitamins and minerals in higher doses. In this article, Dr. Ruckledge discusses the brands that have been researched the most: Daily Essential Nutrients and Empower Plus. These studies have been across 3 countries, approved by government health regulators and university research ethics committees. 50 research papers have been published on these 2 supplements, showing their effectiveness in improving mental health. Dr. Kaplan's and Ruckledge write, "We need the full spectrum of minerals and vitamins every minute of every day to fully optimize our brain function. especially under stress. Everyone's body and situation are different, but as Doctors Kaplan and Ruckledge write, what you eat today will affect how you feel and think tomorrow. So start here today. Step 1, examine what you're eating. Step 2, avoid junk. Step 3, stay away from meat, fish, and poultry. Step 4, eat more plants. Step 5, get moving. Step 6, supplement if necessary. If you have any questions, talk to a nutritional psychologist and let us know in the comments below if you plan on making one of these changes. Are you going to try to kick out ultra-processed and fried foods and meat? Have you tried baking or air frying your French fries? If you enjoy these videos, like, share, and subscribe for more. And remember to take it one day at a time until it's 7 days a week, forever 10.